Welcome everybody back to Anchors Away. I know it has been a couple months here since we've been back on this podcast. I guess you can say we took a summer break just like the NFL did.
Hiatus.
Got
We went
got
on
hyped up
hiatus.
right up
Yeah.
after the NFL draft and the combine. Then we kind of took a break. But we are back in full swing of things. And you're going to notice right away, especially if you're watching the video, we have a couple new things going on. And we kind of took some things from our favorite TV shows that have been proven to be successful. So we implemented those here, and we also looked at what other, I guess, and specifically Seahawk podcasters are doing, and a lot of them just do the same thing. It's your face cam on a blue and green background, and that's about it. There's not much more that you're really watching it for. If you like the characters and the host, that's awesome. That's great. But there's just not much more to it. With that said, so I will kind of break this down a little bit on what's on your screen now. So obviously we do have our face cams on the front, which I think is kind of necessary for a video podcast myself.
Kind of helps.
On the bottom, we kept the ticker, so we still have the main Seattle sports professional team logos on the bottom, with some of the more important news of the week. So, for instance, if you're watching this, we obviously have Anchors Away, hosted by us, and then Mariners 7 wins in a row. Seattle Storm down 1-2, things like that, and then obviously it'll be updated week to week on what's going on in the Pacific Northwest with Seattle sports. On the side, though, that's where things are a little bit newer. In the top right here, you will have a timer on the screen. It's only giving us 5 minutes to talk about each topic, and you can see that there are a total of 4 quarters per show. So in theory, the episodes will be about 20 to 25 minutes in length, which we kind of noticed based on analytics and our viewership. That's about the sweet spot for us, is right in that 20 to 25. There's some days that might go a little bit longer, but for now, we're sticking right there. So that's going to be some of the big changes that you'll see right away. And we hope you enjoy them. I think you will. That's kind of what we discussed, and we like them. So hopefully it's a good thing for us. But before we really dive into this and get going, how are you doing? It's been a couple months since we did the show last. If people have been following, what's new with you up in Louisville still?
Yeah. Just, like you said, it was kind of almost a summer hiatus, just lots of stuff to do, especially with, things starting to get a little bit back to normal. So it was kind of fun just getting out and doing stuff and taking some road trips. And, now that we're kind of, officially we had the Labor Day, it's kind of end of summer. So now we can kind of get back into our regular routine and with structure and everything. So looking really excited to what's coming up and just getting back into it because I really enjoy doing this with you. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's the great thing is and I was kind of talking about this with Claire a little bit today, is just as much as the June-July games for baseball really count, in the long scheme of things, it's hard to stay excited for that 60-game stretch of just, we're playing 3-game series against Texas, another 3-game series against Houston or whatever it may be. So I think, the summer break, it's kind of unfortunate because we were kind of building that growth, and obviously we didn't plan on that happening. But I think it at least was a good time, and I think we're getting back into it at the right time, especially with the playoffs coming very quickly for the Mariners. Hopefully that stays true. Seattle Seahawks are starting back. Obviously they had preseason, but the regular season is here just in a week, 1 week from today, actually. Then the Seattle Kraken, they're getting back into things. I believe they're starting their fall camp now. So lots of fun things going on and more to talk about on all aspects. And obviously the Storm are in their playoffs right now as well. But let's get into this. So this is going to be our new thing right away, is we will have the timer. It's going to be on the screen. I have it as 5 minutes and 7 seconds. So we have a little bit of time to count down before we get into the topic. But I'm going to start the timer here now. It's going to show up on the screen now. And let's get into it. Mariners win 7th in a row, sweeping Cleveland. Now, this is obviously, as of today, they're playing the White Sox right now, and it's not looking good. And I know you are you have a topic on this one right away with Marco Gonzalez on the mound. So let's hear your thought with him and Seattle getting at least 7 before tonight.
Yeah. So, again, Marco is on the mound. I'm always have been nervous with Marco on the mound. He's good for giving up at least 3 runs a game, 4 runs a game. That's right around where our pinnacle is. We got to score at least 4. It
Yeah.
seems like 4
Yeah.
is our magic number to score. And Marco doesn't give us a real good chance of winning those games. Irregardless of what the Seattle sports figures say over there, all the reporters and stuff, I don't know what the fascination is with Marco. But from afar, now that I'm away from Washington and I can watch, why Marco is even in the rotation right now? He should have went right to the bullpen. It should be Flexen in the rotation, but maybe that was because maybe they looked at it and went, well, Flexen actually can give us more than 3 innings, so maybe we need to keep him in there and bail out Marco more often than not. But again, like the guy, but he is only good for maybe 1, at most 2 times through that rotation, and then get him out of there. Because I swear, every time on the 3rd time around, we'll give up runs. He'll give it up like like it's candy. But when he already gave up the 3 runs, I'm sure Scott Service went, well, I got no bullpen. We're just going to have to take it. So maybe we kind of went into this game thinking, well, it's Marco and we have no bullpen, so we'll just take the loss. I don't know, but again, Marco, losing record. I'm sorry, he's just not a starter in my opinion anymore. That's where I'm done. But
Yeah.
Come on, Mariners, they're only down by 2. Anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean, going in top of the 7th now, and unfortunately for him, giving up the, I guess, 2 home runs here, one to A.J. Pollock in the 2nd, and then the 2nd to Alvis Andrews in the 3rd. But to your point, 3 innings is really about the max for Marco Gonzalez, it feels like nowadays. And I would put him in the bullpen. I think when it comes to those playoffs, he's not a starter. You just can't risk it, especially with his fastball topping at about 90 miles an hour. That's something if, let's say we go against the Yankees and they're on a downfall. So it's very possible Toronto takes the AL East and we are stuck playing New York as a 4-5. Aaron Judge is going to eat him alive. There's nothing that positive can really come out of Marco pitching at least as a starter. You want to pull him, as maybe that kind of middle long relief pitcher, and that's fine. But yeah, anything over 3 innings with him, it seems like it immediately goes downhill, and nothing good happens after that. Now, granted, there were some good spots with this team as we're already only have 2 minutes left, so this timer it keeps things going. But Cal Raleigh, every time I turn on the Mariners, it seems like he has another home run. I believe he's leading the league in home runs for catching. And I actually read this subreddit earlier today on the Mariners Reddit. And just what was your worst take of the season going into the year? And everyone said Cal Raleigh at the end of April thought we needed to trade for a catcher, and how fortunate and happy people are that he's actually turned it around. And I can't be more happy for him because I was one of those people. He's only hitting 210, but that's so much better than the 130 we were getting from Mike Zunino not that long ago. And with that power. So Cal Raleigh, a big step in the right direction. And then really with 1 minute left, let's talk about the big news that we did miss about a week ago. Julio Rodriguez potentially signing. He did sign the contract, but it has the potential to be the largest in MLB history. Do you think right now is the right time to get that contract done and lock him up for potentially the next 13 years, I think it is?
Oh, absolutely. Timing was everything. I mean, this came out of the blue just to see that, let's pull the trigger. I will say that this got done, I think, just as much from Julio as it did from the Mariners. I mean, when you like Jerry DePoto said, he called up, Julio's camp and said, what do you think? Boom. Next thing you know is let's sign him. And it's a win-win. I bet you this is going to be the first of many contracts that look identical to this for guys going down the road.
Well, I think the timing's kind of interesting as well, because I think you saw what happened to Juan Soto in the Nationals. And that is the last thing you wanted to happen with Seattle. I mean, you have this kid, 21 years old, playing just
he's the face
at a great level, has transcended Seattle Mariner baseball and looks to be that face for a long time. He's going to be the next Ichiro and Felix combined. And with that said, that's our time up. So we now get to transition to quarter number 2. We're just going to restart this timer and let's go to the second quarter.
All right. I almost had to throw a penalty flag for a delay of game on that.
I know, really close. So, second quarter, this is where we talk about the present that's going on. And Bleacher Report released their power rankings going into week one of the NFL season, with Seattle ranked 32nd out of 32 teams. I read this and I was a little surprised and intrigued on what they had to say. Um, I I mean, I'll be honest. I'm hoping we do hit that prediction of about 3 wins this year. Let's tank for one of these quarterbacks, but 32 out of 32 feels really low to me. When you hear that, your initial reaction, 32nd in the league out of 32. What's your take and opinion on that?
Well, first, that's going to be the national perspective.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's probably about right. Without Russell Wilson, that immediately just, irregardless, the Seattle Seahawks are only Russell Wilson, according to the national media.
Exactly.
And then when we got rid of Bobby Wagner, then, we're just going to tank it this season and, try to get our quarterback. But that's the national take. Out of fairness, it's tough staying up late for any games or trying to watch a West Coast game
especially
anymore.
the West Coast.
Even during the regular season, it's tough because you're out here on the East Coast, you're watching your East Coast games. So I think 32 is a little low. I was thinking maybe mid-20s. But then I'm probably going to ask me, well, name the teams that are worse than the Hawks. But I think it's a little low. I have a funny feeling that Hawks are going to screw it up.
Yeah.
The reason why is, on the one hand, I think John Schneider in the back of his head would say, let's tank it. From his standpoint.
Yep.
Carroll's standpoint, oh no, we are out here to compete and we're going to win and we're going to do our darndest to get to the playoffs. First 4 games is going to determine which way this team goes.
I think that's the interesting thing. Because really, first off, let's get to the actual topic at hand. 32 out of 32. I would take Seattle over Chicago, over Jacksonville, over Detroit, over
New York Jets now.
Over the Jets, over the Giants. I think mid-20s is probably a little more realistic because Geno Smith did not move the offense at all during preseason. No. And really, he didn't do much in the regular season last year in his 3-game stint. But he did go 1-2. So let's say over the course of 17 games, he goes 1-2. That's at least 4 wins. And I feel confident 4 wins is going to be more than a couple other teams. But to your point, if they, John Schneider is probably at the point, let's tank, let's rebuild this thing. We have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds next year. Plenty of opportunity to really rebuild the roster and take the franchise back to the level or the place you want it to be. And then, like you said, Pete Carroll's all about competition.
Right. And who's to say that they actually go for one of the top-ranked first-round quarterbacks anyway?
Yeah, they might not. That's exactly what happened with Russ.
They got the 2 in the second round. Stay back and find that guy.
I don't necessarily think you have to rush for the quarterback.
No.
If
Young and Field, Stroud is it? No.
Yeah, maybe it's not worth it. And then obviously Jimmy Garoppolo is a free agent next year, so maybe if you can build the 4 picks that aren't a quarterback, maybe you can entice one of the free agent guys to come. Yeah. And let's say I will not pay Lamar Jackson, especially with what Russ just got. But it would be an interesting name if he hit free agency, what they would do. I definitely like to lean towards going the rookie quarterback, get him on a 4-year deal on that rookie contract money, build the team, and you're setting yourself up just like in 2013-14 here when they won Super Bowl 48 and then obviously went to Super Bowl 49, and that's when all things went downhill as they tried to make Russell Wilson the hero, and we all know what happened after that. So this one we went a little bit faster now, so we got to get this timing perfected as we are at about 40 seconds. But going into the season, Seattle is a negative 6-point favorite against Denver. Real quick, do you think that's probably fair? Russ coming into Seattle for the first time with the 12 screaming and yelling at him.
Monday night, yeah. I think it'll be a closer game on a Monday night, but I got to give it to Denver. They just I think they're more solid across both of their offense and defense than Seattle is at this stage.
Yep, I think that's fair. It'll be. I think the first half will probably be a close one, but as soon as we hit the second half, Russ and Denver will take over. With that said, again, that is 5 minutes. So we're going to restart the timer, and here we go to the third quarter. Third quarter, we're now talking about the WNBA, and I know most people will probably tune this part out or just skip over it, but it is important for Seattle because it is Sue Bird's last year. And game 3 was a heartbreaker. She hits the 3-pointer with 1.8 seconds left in the game to go up 92-90, and they just let Las Vegas run down the court in that amount of time and do an easy layup to tie the game. And obviously, Las Vegas goes on to win in overtime, 110 to have it right in front of me, 98. Is this the end for the Storm and Sue Bird's career?
Yeah, yeah. The Aces were favored anyway. I would even say the Aces are probably the number one team. Compared with Chicago and the Sun. Definitely Seattle was the fourth seed going into this thing. And they just aren't deep. They just don't have the after Brianna Stewart, and if Jewel Lloyd falls off, well, there's nobody. I'm sorry to say that. But, because where the Aces are at, you got to be firing on all cylinders, obviously, because look at, how the series has gone. But even during the regular season, the Sun took us there, or I mean the Aces took us during the regular season too. It just did not line up well for Seattle. In fact, I think we got swept by the Sun, and I want to say the Chicago Sky actually came out ahead of it, beating us too. So it was going to be an uphill climb to get out of the semis anyway, let alone trying to get to the finals. But, what a job Sue Bird has done for, generations. Literally generations she has led. And not only the Seattle Storm, but she's really led the WNBA to where it's at today. I mean, she's really made it a game that can be played. That when it first came out, I was kind of joking about it, going, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
But now, I mean, these four teams are gaining respect of a lot of people. In fact, a lot of NBA players were watching it, going, "Whoa, what a playoff!" So this game 4 is going to be unbelievably attended by a whole bunch of people. And boy, let's hope Jewel Lloyd shows up for Sue Bird. Brianna Stewart, of course, she's going to do her thing. She's going to get her double-double again. But with Aja Wilson doing the double-double, Jewel's got to show up. Sue will be there. I mean, she'll show up, but she's got to. Somebody else has got to show up for Seattle. But I don't see Seattle going on to the finals. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty fair. And to like the point of the depth, I do have the stats here in front of me. Seattle had 6 players in double digits. Las Vegas only had 4. But the difference is Aja goes for 34 and Chelsea Gray goes for 29. So that's a pretty big difference. But I think the thing that really just sticks out to me is 1.8 seconds. Nobody did anything to stop that. And I'll be honest, I didn't really watch the game. I don't think most people do. Which is fine, but you have such that high. Sue Bird nails the 3 to go up by 2 with a second. It should have been over. See, this would be a totally different conversation,
right?
But then also in overtime, you can only score 6 points, and Las Vegas can score 92 to 110. Was that 18 points?
Yeah,
you could.
It was domination.
Anything. Yeah.
I mean, they clamped down. I mean, it was dominant.
And I think part of it maybe I don't really follow WNBA or know ages or anything, but just kind of looking at the players, it seems like Las Vegas is a lot younger. And maybe just the amount of it's a long game going into overtime, and if you did your all in that fourth quarter to take the lead and then give it up, I mean, maybe it's a fatigue thing, maybe it's an age thing, but. You definitely feel bad for them because they were there. They had the opportunity. They had the shot. Fortunately, Game 4 is in Seattle, so maybe they can at least steal one. Steal one back, just like they stole one from Las Vegas in Vegas.
Right.
But I think to your point overall, when Game 5 is in Vegas, it's a done deal. It's wrapped up. Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, and Kelsey Plum,
Kelsey Plum
are going to do their thing and lock that up for Becky Harmon or Hammond in Las Vegas and go to the final. And I would probably predict them to win as well. Like you were saying, they seem to be the best team from what I have, the little bit I have seen, at least the most consistent. So
yeah, they're the deepest and consistent.
Exactly. So another 5 minutes is up and gone. And then, I'm a little bit surprised how we were able to get that one all to fit that in or just keep a conversation going for 5 minutes on WNBA, but we did it. So to all those haters out there, you can, just listen to us there. We did better than ESPN.
You got your WNBA fix for the week.
Yeah. Once again, we're going to restart this timer and over to the fourth quarter now. Let's talk about University of Washington football, which after last year, who thought we'd be talking about them? But a new head coach in Kalen DeBoer and this new quarterback from, like you said, the University of Indiana, Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
26 of 39, 345 yards and 4 touchdowns, leading Washington to a 45-20 victory over Kent State. And after last year's opening game, that's a nice surprise for UW getting a dub. No pun intended there. But let's talk about that real quick because, last year everyone thought Sam Heward was going to be the next coming of Bryce Young. He was going to be the next great UW quarterback. And they didn't play him. They played Dylan Morris, which was probably not the best choice because he never played well the whole year. And then when they do throw Sam Heward in the game, it's at Apple Cup, and nobody really thought that was going to go well.
Right.
But now they get this kid, Penix, from, like you said, Indiana. And it's Kent State, so there's not a lot to talk there. They probably should have won the game like they did. But just to come out and he looked like a legit quarterback.
4 possessions, 4 touchdowns. Hey,
as for Husky fans out there, what do you think they can expect or at least hope going into the season going forward?
Yeah, well, after we moved out here to Kentucky, I was listening to the Indiana games back in 2019 when Penix was the quarterback. And he was ripping and flinging that ball. I mean, Indiana was beating teams they should not have beat. I mean, I think that year they beat Penn State. Go figure.
Oh, wow.
They were 5-1 with him in the Big Ten. 5-1 in the Big Ten.
Okay.
They were beating teams left and right before he got injured. And as soon as he got injured, it was over for Indiana. That's how impactful he was for Indiana. Yeah. He's mobile. He can go. He can call a good game. He doesn't necessarily turn the ball over. So when DeBoer saw him in the transfer portal, I would be the same way. I'd be grabbing him because he was the offensive coach at that time. So I think in a way that's helpful to Sam because it gives him another year of really learning Kellen's, whatever his name is, coach's name. But gives him a solid chance to have 3 solid years or 2 solid years of flinging the ball now, so he can learn from Penix. And I think the Huskies are going to shock some people. I don't think necessarily Utah's going to roll over this year as basically the Pac-10 or 12, whatever they are now.
Yeah,
definitely looks not power in the conference at all right now. Just look at their record this weekend. But the Huskies could surprise some folks.
Yeah, and
I'm excited about them.
I think if you're a UW fan, that's all you can really ask for this year.
Yeah.
Is maybe do a couple surprises here and there, and hope that you can get a couple more wins than they did last year. Looking at their schedule, it'll be Portland State, and then it's the rematch from last year against Michigan State. Or no, I guess they played Michigan last year.
Right. Yeah.
But still, that the third week is going to be tough.
It is.
Looking forward, let's say UW puts on the same performance, which they should, against Portland State. Do you feel any sort of confidence against Michigan State? It will be at home, it looks like, at UW Stadium.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. I don't give the Pac-12 much credit for anything this year, to be honest. Go up against the Big Ten or the SEC, forget it. No. The Pac-12 just doesn't have the horses like the other conferences right now.
Yeah.
So I don't give them much of a shot against Michigan State. I don't.
Yeah. If Oregon was ranked 11th and they put up 3 points, obviously against Georgia, But if Michigan State's ranked lower than them,
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to be a tough one. I think just generally in the Pac-12, their schedule feels not so bad.
No,
Um,
well, they don't have Utah. They don't have
no,
USC.
no,
Thank God they don't have USC this year.
yeah.
So I think, are they going to get to a bowl? I think they'll get to a bowl.
I think 6 wins is reasonable.
I do.
I mean, just looking here, obviously they got the big one out of the way in Kent State. Not a big team to play, but after last year losing, that derailed the whole season. So,
Yeah.
getting the win against Kent State, Portland State next or this coming week should be a W.
Right.
There's some teams that I expect they would beat Oregon State as well. They seem to always do that. But that is our time. That has been another 5 minutes, and that is really kind of what the show is going to feel like going forward. I think personally, I kind of liked it.
I do.
This was our first one. Did you feel confident and comfortable with that as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can prep for it really well, get some points across, boom, get in, get out. Yeah, I like it.
And I think too, going forward, it's super easy to get those clips up as well, and just make it a nice viewing experience. And on the side with our little menu there, where you're at and what we're talking about. If you're scrolling through the video.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Final remarks, Mariner, Seahawk, anything you got before we close the show off tonight?
Yeah. What a time to be a Mariners fan. I'm really hacked off being out here while they're winning, but it's been great because I can wear my gear and everybody goes, love the shirt, way to go. It's kind of like we're the lovable Cubs fans. The Mariners out here, nobody can say anything bad about them. They're all like, yeah, go get them. It's like, it's like the greatest thing right now. It's like, yeah, I'm glad to be a Mariners fan.
Yeah.
So that's the best thing. They're having fun. As I said to my wife, I was talking to her and I said, these guys look like they're a bunch of high schoolers. That's just how they seem to be in the dugout. I mean, the dance after the game, they're laughing, they're joking. It just seems like they're loose and they're having fun. And when you're winning, hey, why not?
Yeah.
So it's exciting. I'm glad the fans are showing up in Seattle too. Keep cramming that stadium full. That's exciting. At least there's some good stuff, right now with the Mariners, and hopefully that'll tie them over until they can get to the Kraken and see them win as well. You notice I skipped over another team because I think that's going to cause ulcers for a bunch of people in Seattle. So we'll go with the Kraken as that winter sport, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to your point, every time I wear a Seahawks shirt, people they're always like, "Oh, I'm a Seahawk fan too." Like, why? And it kind of starts a little conversation. So it's always fun. But with that said, everybody, thank you all for watching another episode of Anchors Away. Let us know if you like this style or not. I think we both do, so we'll probably keep doing it. But let us know what you think. Go ahead, subscribe. It always helps us out. And until next time, we will see you all again in just a few days. Thank you for watching.
See ya.